You're watching the Tesla Live with your host, Mark Codland.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Tesla Live number 331, November 1st, 2023. And yeah, that's a new month for those of you that are keeping track of that stuff. We're wrapping up the year here, and less than a month to go before CyberTruck officially hits the road, because that's the end of this month, so we can't wait to see that. But let's get to introductions. We have Mr. Casey Green and his daughter Moto joining us. Oh, Moto, how are you?
She's like, I can hear you without the headphones.
How come?
Say hi.
Hello.
Hi.
Be shy. Yeah, we're doing all right. Other than, the technical difficulties.
Yeah, Casey's been playing a little bit with audio settings before the show, so we're lucky we got him at all, because he's been having all sorts of fun. But hopefully the speakers hold up during the show. But also with us, as normal, we have Mr. Patrick Connor joining us from the West Coast. How are you today, sir?
I'm good. Happy Samhain Day, Tesla Nation.
Okay, what is that?
It's Irish for November.
Oh, okay. All right.
It's the day.
And those you remember, Patrick spent some time in Ireland, right?
With a name like Patrick.
Yeah. Well, I think there might be a lot of Patricks that haven't visited Ireland that live in the United States.
No, it's required for all of us.
Oh, okay. All right. My mistake.
Yep.
Well, oh yeah, sure. Now Moto's talking. Sure. Now that we're not talking to her, now she's yapping up a storm. Sure. Oh. Well, let's get to the news and look at what's been going on. Here's an interesting story that hit at the earlier in the week, and this was a story about Tesla confirming the sale of $100 million worth of Supercharger hardware to BP Pulse. That's right. Yeah. I said they're selling the hardware to British Petroleum Pulse, which is
self-install.
For self-install, yes. So
and maintenance.
So they're going to get the nice IKEA instruction package with 2 Allen keys, I'm sure.
I've seen the instruction books for V3, and they are quite detailed.
That's good. You don't want to get that wrong.
Yeah. No, not with that amount of voltage. And amps.
When BP's writing that big of a check, I think Tesla might give them a few days of training.
Yeah, hopefully. Yeah. So that's kind of a surprise. This has never happened before previously, that Tesla has agreed to sell a supercharger, and not just one, obviously multiple of them for $100 million worth. And apparently British Petroleum Pulse, Pulse is the brand that they're rolling out as a charging station locations that they're going to maintain, upkeep, and have the maintenance on. So it's all BP's organization. As far as we know, it'll be using BP software as well. It won't be necessarily connected to our Tesla cars at all. There may be an agreement that Tesla has with BP Pulse, but as far as I understand, the software itself is going to be written and maintained by BP. So that is really a kind of a surprise turn. I wasn't expecting this at all. This is something of interest that we just learned. So, what do you guys think? Is that any saw this coming out of left field?
So there's 2 things to protect us there's 2 things I want to talk about. There's one thing to protect us as Tesla owners from a bad experience should BP not hold up to their part of the agreement. Remember a few months ago when Tesla started adding in third-party DC fast chargers?
Yeah.
And the car is rating whether or not they are keeping up with their uptime agreements. They will pull these straight out of the, like Tesla doesn't have to do anything. The car will pull these out of the system if they don't work correctly. I'm talking, sweetie. And,
right. Yeah,
and
once Tesla supported that API and said they would allow third-party vendors in, they're not going to do it for third-party vendors that are not reliable. So BP, if they're going to maintain them themselves and not do a service contract with Tesla, like I think they probably should, but they're not, they're going to have to maintain them and keep the uptime, because I would just guessing, if you think 75% of the EVs out there are Tesla, and most people just navigate by the in-dash navigation system. And so if you get kicked out of that, you just lost 75% of your customers, if not more, depending on. So I definitely think that there's a motivation for them to do the right thing there and have a good, reliable network.
At point 1B there, now that you mentioned it, Ford also has a similar program, but theirs is manual. So if the charge angels get there too many times in a row and the BP is not working, it'll come out of the Ford vehicles as well.
Oh,
yes,
interesting.
Certainly, they have the incentive to make sure that those chargers remain operational and maintained properly. Especially as Patrick has mentioned, you've got a high percentage of EV owners out there that are Tesla, and Tesla would have an issue if they were recommending a charger on your route map that ended up not working or consistently not worked when people were trying it. So that's something that they would definitely want to avoid happening to their customers.
Yeah. And then my second point is that it was pointed out to me that BP owns Travel Centers of America, one of the largest truck stops in the continent.
Someone's got the control board in front of Casey.
Yeah,
that's not a camera malfunction. That's the actual light.
The prior relationship when it comes time to install the mega chargers for the Tesla Semi.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, this is step one of that plan. I think you're right. That's a good call. The point that I think is interesting here is that a lot of states have limitations. So a lot of states got funding for EV infrastructure to be deployed over the next 2 years. But a lot of them have restrictions that you can only give 25% of the funds to any one supplier. Well, now if supplier one is Tesla and supplier two is BP Pulse, who's actually buying Tesla Superchargers and paying Tesla $100 million, Tesla's effectively double dipping legally on those incentives. And I think that's for the best, actually, because they are the ones that know how to make reliable a charging network. So why wouldn't you want them to have more of that too? Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and that was part of the Tesla's coming in with bids that are half the price, but they can only get 25%. Okay, so you're going to pay someone else twice as much to do another 25%. Really? That makes no sense.
It does to Texas legislatures. Derek had a question. Any guesses or predictions on charger network will be lower priced or not? That's an excellent question as to whether or not there may be some sort of a price war when it comes to superchargers versus BP Pulse. I don't know, but maybe there will be an agreement, under the table agreement about pricing too. Who knows?
That's collusion. No, that's illegal. Yeah.
But they would be smart to just kind of hook their system up to just always be cheaper than whatever the local Tesla superchargers are. That way you get captive customers that are going to spend at least 5 to 30 minutes with you.
To at least initially when the network rolls out to get people to come over and try it. I think
that's just giving away electricity at that point.
Yeah, Derek says this would be a good poll question.
Yeah, got another poll coming up on Monday. So absolutely.
Okay. Cool.
Got another email from friend of the show, Evan Fusco. And Evan, with this news, had surmised that maybe if this is successful, that Tesla may look at this as a way to possibly exit the Supercharger game, allowing them to keep continuing to produce the reliable equipment, to sell the equipment to others, and have others set it up in their own network if they can get reliable partners, as we hope that BP Pulse will be. So that's, I don't know. I hope Tesla's not planning on doing that at the start of this. Let's see how this first agreement works out. And let's see how dependable BP Pulse will be before we get into maybe outsourcing this to others. Tesla has done such a fantastic job on the Supercharger front that I would hate for them to relinquish their lead just because someone else is stepping up to the plate. Let's hope that they're just going to monitor the situation after they make this big sale and see if anybody else follows suit and how reliable those partners will be.
I can see that certainly being in the realm of possibilities, but I would put the likelihood of that as very, very low, because even if they wanted to do something like be an ABB or be a charge point, I would see them spinning off different divisions or being forced to spin them off, Microsoft and Google style, before I see them just quitting, because they need to make sure that's a reliable resource for their customers.
Derek's got a question about who's going to be responsible to maintain these chargers. I understand BP's responsible.
Right, that's my understanding as well. So I want to address the Dr. Evan Fusco's comment. So longtime viewers will know that Dr. Fusco was on the show before I was, and and he's a really smart guy. But so Tesla is only successful at selling cars if you can charge them reliably and have service near you. Those are the two requirements, and they've seen that if they don't have, if an area is missing either one of those, sales drop significantly. So if they're just selling them, they're not going to be able to control where they get installed. So they might clump them on the coasts or wherever the sales are, wherever they think they can get the most charging. Tesla didn't put it where they thought it could get the most use. They put it where they thought it was the most needed, and which is a slightly different equation, right? So they were trying to support their drivers versus make money off of charging. So to your point, Mark, they would only ever consider that after seeing years of selling them and those being successful. So to even talk about it at this point, I think is a crazy idea. Although I still think Evan's smart.
Yeah, he's smart. And I think there's a non-zero chance of it occurring, but I don't think it's a very likely scenario anytime in the near future.
Yeah. Well, that kind of segue. Go ahead.
Can MrSupercharger.com talk about plugs?
Go right ahead.
You're going to do most of the stories today, then.
Is that a yes?
Yep. So go ahead.
Our friends at Subaru have told us something that was innately obvious to us now. They have joined the Supercharger coalition, and what is unique about their announcement, because as you guys know, that Mr. Supercharger obsessed with plugs, I'm going to read all these agreements and announcements and see what's different about it. So what's different about this is Subaru quoted, instead of the 12,000 superchargers, that 12,000 plus superchargers that everybody else is quoting. Recently, Ford updated their text on their website to say 15,000 plus superchargers, and that is the same number that Subaru said. And their adapter situation was just as mealy-mouthed as Toyota's, but still way better than BMW's. They're going to make sure that there's access to adapters. And what does that mean? Does that mean you're talking about Magic Dock? Does that mean that I can buy them, I can rent them, or you're going to give them to me? Who knows? But with BMW, there was no talk of adapters. And Hyundai was still also weird about adapters being later than the rest. So welcome to the social.
Yeah, it's
Yep.
I think Subaru missed the message or was asleep at the switch for a couple months because anyone that's now joining the party, man, they missed that boat some time ago.
At the moment, their only vehicle is made by Toyota, and so if Toyota wasn't coming, they couldn't. They did say, you know, on future vehicles starting in 2025, and then they said select models would have it. Same thing that Toyota said, where it was very confusing. Like, once you only got one, does that count?
Right.
And
so
then,
it was just 10, 11 days ago that Toyota announced. So it makes sense that they would follow on Toyota's heels if they're using Toyota as a supplier or an OEM for a lot of stuff.
I think Subaru should have got ahead of the train and announced it before Toyota. That would have really stuck it to Toyota.
That might not have been well. The Japanese don't like it when you make them look bad.
Usurper.
Exactly, usurper. But I will give them this: they were better at the timing than Honda was, and they also were better at the announcement than Honda was. Whereas Honda said, yeah, whatever GM does, and then it's a great idea, we're going to do it, and both of those items were way later than this. But
Honda announced in August, so still
right. But they had to wait for GM to announce because GM builds their car.
Used to. So that agreement's ending too. So it's the EV infrastructure is all over the place. Yeah.
Wow.
So the list of other shoes that need to drop that I have is Volkswagen, Stellantis, Suzuki, and Mazda.
And Mitsubishi.
The Legacy. I should add Mitsubishi to this.
Mitsubishi to that list too.
Yep. Lucid and whoever else is going to keep making their trucks with like their commercial trucks with CCS1 instead of switching to MCS 2 or 3.
Interesting point, Casey, you made about Ford updating their sheet to say 15,000 plus chargers instead of 12,000. What does 15,000 plus mean? Obviously, 15,000 isn't the final number.
Right.
So is this some sort of a deal that Tesla has signed with all of these other manufacturers that said, listen, we're going to give you access to a group of superchargers starting at 12,000, and now Tesla's updating some of them and saying, okay, we're over 15,000 now, and we're probably going to go higher. So I wonder if this is Tesla just at their end saying, this is the agreement now. We're going to give you more because for whatever reason, Tesla internally believes that they're going to have this number upon rollout next. I guess that's this coming spring.
I would say it's probably that because we've seen V4 superchargers popping up all over the continent, and we've seen way more Magic Docks deployed than we had in previous weeks. Not saying that you need either of those things, but they do make it easier to accomplish if the thing is already speaking CCS and if they already have an adapter for the folks who forget theirs at home. Yeah,
it's going to be interesting. I think that Tesla's probably pushing this based on Ford announcing it first, and then Subaru coming, at the tail end of it and saying, "Yeah, we're going to get 15,000 too." So it sounds like there's that the word has come down from Tesla, most likely.
Yeah, Derek is asking on the previous story, will BP chargers appear on the Tesla map on Tesla cars? And yes, they will, provided that they maintain the requirements that we spoke of last time with the Tesla automatic third-party charger listings. So it's going to take a little long to get in there of perfect charge rates. Well, not perfect, but nearly perfect. And then it's a lot quicker to get out of it. So if you start failing, they'll just pull you from the map. Your car, when it plugs in, it doesn't work. We'll remove it from the Tesla database.
Yeah, it could be that quick too with the information that Tesla holds.
Yeah.
Well, with that, let's move on to the next story. And this one is about another partner of Tesla's. This is about Hertz. Hertz, of course, signed that momentous deal, was it last year, for 100,000 units from Tesla to start off their EV fleet that they were making public through many announcements. Even, I believe, a Super Bowl commercial they had with the famous quarterback, Peyton Manning.
Peyton Manning?
I think so. I think it was
Yeah,
Peter.
that was probably right.
And there was an interesting. This article goes into how Hertz has not hit its desired profits for this year. And the reason they're saying, yeah, there's the world's smallest violin playing, but the reason that they're pointing
welcome to the social Hertz. You're a regular owner just like us, but you've got 100,000 of them instead of 12 or 4 or 1.
So they're pointing at the issue is that Tesla's price of their vehicles has basically dropped 20% since they purchased the vehicles. So Hertz, of course, being a business, will sell their cars at the end of a certain time period so they can buy new cars and bring in new fleets. And they get paid back for the cars they sell and use that to reinvest the profits into the new cars. Well, if your car is worth 20% less over that same time period, a year, and you go to sell the car, obviously your accounting department is expecting to get a certain amount of money for those vehicles, and they're getting a percentage or a few percentages less than what they're expecting.
So my car, right? If you pick the exact same new car today, like the same level of, the level of where it is in the performance and like the options, it's down 60,000. I could get the same car for 60,000 less if I paid sticker to sticker from 5 years ago to today, and that's without doing a currency conversion. It's just dollar for dollar.
Wow. And that's what we want. We want the prices.
Yeah, that's what we want. As owners, it's good. As far as like new owners.
Exactly. Yeah. So I'm not buying this. Hertz missed their numbers. And whenever you miss numbers, if you can scapegoat something.
I think blame on somebody else so your investors don't run away.
Exactly. Because if they just came out there and they said, we mismanaged things and we had no idea how much we were really going to make. And so we guided you wrong. And now we missed the street's expectations. That just does not make them look good.
Like if they could have had some good numbers, then they could say those street people are insane and let's stop using these street numbers. They, just like Elon says, they shout outside your house and shout prices at you all day until you're ready to actually buy or sell.
Yeah, that's a Warren Buffett quote. Yeah, so he
was going more. Okay.
They said they're going to buy 100,000 Teslas. They've only bought 35,000. So there's 65,000 they still need to buy. And guess what? If they're buying them cheaper, that's better for them. And the EVs only make up about 11% of their total fleet. So even if they didn't quite get as much money selling these, and they only started buying them in 2021. So how many of them are they selling a couple years later?
They shouldn't be selling any but the broken ones at this point.
Yeah. So I'm not buying it. This is just the corporate dance that they do.
One thing I did see pointed out in just a small handful of the articles is that Hertz may have estimated or done wrong with the amount of rideshare versus the regular rentals, because rideshare will put more miles, more damage, more wear and tear, more butts in the seat than your regular rental will do. And if you didn't calculate that correctly, this could be really bad for your resale numbers.
But then again, that's
never say that. You say Tesla screwed us with the price.
That's mismanagement. Definitely. Yeah. Thanks to Derek to correcting us on the quarterback was Tom Brady in the commercials. But
okay.
Yeah.
So that's kind of interesting. So Patrick, you think it's just accounting speak, trying to find another scapegoat for end of a quarter shortfall or miss?
And during the pandemic, used car prices were sky high, and they've been coming down ever since. So it's not just the EVs that hit them,
right?
And so, and like I said, if EVs are only 11% of their fleet, well, you've got the other almost 90% that even a small change there is going to have a bigger impact. It'd have to be 9-10 times more for the EVs. No, I'm not buying.
Could be a legacy dealer with $100,000 trucks that they marked up $20,000 or more with an increased floor plan with the interest rates, Not that I feel any sympathy for the folks that are out there gouging their customers like that, but that would be a much worse problem than oh my goodness, the prices of our resales aren't quite right. If you're paying interest and not selling it and you've marked it up, so now nobody really wants it or can afford it.
Yeah.
So
they could have done worse.
Yeah.
That's always possible.
Assuming there's not gross mismanagement than the allegations about the rideshare percentage, I would say if you felt good about investing in them before, then you should be able to trust the team to continue to do the right thing through what's going on. And again, assuming that nobody's out there just doing gross mismanagement. And I understand that the street wants the quarter to quarter, but this is a real business. And they don't.
That would be a funny way for them to do their quarterly earnings. Okay, we screwed up, but it could have been way worse.
Could have been worse.
You don't want to use the word just show the numbers and carry on.
That's funny.
Yeah, it would be like going up in front of your if shareholders and showing the chart with it going down and say, now this is what we got, but if we flip it this way.
Up and to the right is good, right? So
it's looking fantastic.
Yeah,
exactly. Oh man. Next, Patrick's got a story. He was our on the street reporter recently, and I will share some photos for him if he would like.
Yeah.
Right.
So if you watched the show last week, Mark was saying, I want to see these V4s. They're right near your house. Why aren't you going? And so he guilted me into it. So I did go. The address that was in supercharge.info took me to the Target, but the actual it's actually in the PetSmart parking lot. So PetSmart, you can charge your car and walk your dog.
Somebody's going shopping.
Yeah, you go buy some canned cat food, whatever you want.
Was this operating yet?
No, it was not roped off or anything, so I was able to park there. I plugged in. The car did recognize that it was plugged in, and it said waiting to charge. And I'm like, what are you waiting for? And it's because these are not operational yet. I did look at the screen, the little screen, and nothing showed up on there.
That part is consistent with the ones that are in operation. The speculation is that perhaps when they activate the charge your non-Tesla, that maybe if you tap a credit card or at that time that it gets enrolled in the charge your non-Tesla program, it might just light up.
Mm-hmm.
Because we've seen it in operation in Europe.
Right. Yeah, and since these were not operational, I'm not surprised the screen didn't come on, and it didn't. This would have actually been
the next time you're through there. Don't use the screen as like if it's off. That means not going to charge your car.
Right. Don't assume that. So this is the first time with our Y that we plugged into a supercharger. I didn't do any supercharging.
I didn't even do anything.
Yes, 100% failure rate at supercharging. I'm just kidding.
Did you remember send them a letter that Richard Buell has never touched your car?
So they all had the magic dock. There's a shot of the magic dock up in there. And it actually makes putting the handle back in a little more difficult because it's not an open bay you can just slide down into. So you have to actually get it lined up right. So that was a little different from the other superchargers I've used.
Yeah,
I wouldn't have thought of that. It might mean less supercharger handles just laying in the rain puddles,
or more.
It might mean more if they're more. Yeah, just a tiny bit of inconvenience, and people are like, "Screw this, I'm out." And the cables are longer, so they can lay down more.
That's right. So you've got the 9.5 foot cables over the 6.5 foot, so an extra 3 feet of cable length to play with.
And they did have one ADA stall. You can see it on the far right there.
Oh yeah, use this one last. I like that.
Mm-hmm.
I've only seen a handful of them in my travels.
I did
notice how they put it on the inside of the curb, and all the others are on the outside of the curb.
Right, so that if you're in a wheelchair, you can roll up to it without hitting a curb.
Yeah.
Smart.
That's kind of interesting.
And I like the way the others are off the curb so they don't get backed into. Yeah, I mean, you still could if you try hard.
It looks like they've changed colors too. Weren't all the other poles to protect the Superchargers?
They were all red, yeah.
Red? Yeah.
Unless you're in a town that dictated your paint colors, yeah.
Well, that's true. If the town is dictating that you can't use red bollards, then I guess you have to do a different color. But also, it looks like they've got some lighting still to install here.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
But that's good because, like I said at the I believe it was Massachusetts. When I was there at the mall, they just cut the lights out. That made you feel great. Sitting in the dark.
Annoying.
One question, Patrick, I have from the photos here is the cable that loops around the bottom of the pedestal here. Is that indented into the Supercharger?
Oh.
Or is it just slapping against the side of it? Or is the white part kind of sticking out to make it look like there's an indentation for the Supercharger cable?
Yeah, I think the white part sticks out some, but let me look at my other shots and see if I can tell, because I have some. Yeah,
and I noticed that the labeling shows this one has 1C, this one has 1B. I can't tell what this one is.
Probably 1A.
1A.
Yeah, so it looks like they go 1A through D, then 2A through D.
Yeah, but if this is not a prefab, then they still have that Tesla thing where just a random site will just have them mixed up just for the hell of it.
No, they are in order. I can see all the
yeah, this one is, but you can't go on seeing this and assume they'll all be that way because you'll get your feelings hurt. My favorite is the ones that expand it, and so like they had one convention and then they switched to the other convention. So it's like 1, 1, 1, 1, and then you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4 on the expansion. It's like
yeah. And Patrick, the size of them, they're much taller.
Yeah, you get that picture? That was awesome.
Yeah, there is a picture of me standing next to one for a size comparison.
You didn't send it in your post on Twitter.
I put there 2 posts. Yeah, look at I did the first one and then I did a /2.
Let's see if we can go to /2 for Patrick. Oh, there we are.
There you go. Yeah.
And Patrick is taller than his avatar.
I'm 178 centimeters. So you can do the rest of the math.
Oh, that's cool. They got the bollard integrated in with the handicap of the disabled access sign.
Right on the slab.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That makes sense. If you're gonna, yeah.
And the 1D or 2D doesn't matter, right? Like there's no sharing like the version 1s.
It does matter, but not to the end user. That tells you what cabinet you're attached to, but all the cabinets share a DC bus between each other on the site, up to a certain number of interconnects. So obviously at the 100 sites that you might not be connected to the one in the far corner on the other side, but at least 3 or 4 of them can connect together easily and share any of their excess capacity. So that is really cool. So you could literally have 2 people plug in next to each other and still get the full rating for their car.
That's why he's Mr. Supercharger.
While we're looking at these, I think it was Electrek got a hold of some of the patent applications for the Magic Dock for both the Supercharger V3 and V4 and the what do they call the Universal Dock at home? I couldn't make heads or tails of it because it had everything like labeled, but they were just like 1A and 12 and 13, and like they didn't include the table of what they were referencing. So,
very cool. Well, thanks, Patrick, for going out and spending some time making us those exclusive photos. That's fantastic.
Yeah, I was through the town that has the ones around me, but we were on a tight schedule. And
don't tell Mark that. He'll make you go next week.
Now you're getting called out. So now it's your turn.
I do it, but I want to make sure they're open before we go, or at least like
don't give me that tight schedule stuff. That's just no good.
I had 2 children's birthday parties back to back.
Oh wow! Yeah, if I do hear about this one opening up, I wouldn't mind going again just to. I want to supercharge at least once, make sure it works while I'm still under warranty.
That's right. That's right. Next, speaking of new areas, this is kind of cool and a little bit surprising. New Brunswick, one of Canada's Atlantic provinces on the East Coast, there's a large mall in one of its biggest cities. Biggest city would be Moncton, New Brunswick. And they have a large mall called Cadillac Fairview as a mall operator, and they have one of their largest malls there. What happened just last week was that the mall was posting some information on their website about coming retailers to the mall, getting ready, of course, for the Christmas season. And they happened to put up a Tesla logo and even in some store information that you could access through the web, it actually even showed what position they would be at the mall. And Tesla, of course, doesn't confirm or deny anything. They're just not answering. But it appears that they're going to get a mall space in New Brunswick. And that will be the first showroom that Tesla has in Atlantic Canada at all. And it's a good location because it's centrally located between New Brunswick, Nova Scotia, Prince Edward Island, at least. And of course, if you're in Newfoundland, it's far closer than Montreal. But it's kind of interesting. I didn't think that Tesla, at this point in the game, would be opening any more mall showrooms. I thought that might have been a thing that they did watching their pennies in the beginning. I think
everyone was done with it when he tried to fire like half of the retail folks.
I think that Tesla had actually moved to a more of a system where they're purchasing or leasing a building and they're running service out of that building as well as a showroom. But because I haven't heard about a number of showrooms opening lately that are just showrooms, so this is kind of interesting. A little bit of a reversal from what I've been seeing lately here in Canada and the United States. So that's kind of newsworthy. Not sure why this is the case at this point in the game for Atlantic Canada, but that appears to be what's going on. Maybe it's like with all real estate, it's location. Maybe that being the regional mall, that's the place for them to be. And that's what they believe, and that's why they're setting up there.
Are Canadian malls as successful as U.S. malls, as in like trending downward? We got to rotate the chart. Because then it might be really cheap real estate.
Yeah. It's well, the U.S. is a different. Certainly, the U.S. has a lot more malls and a lot more different variety of malls. There's level A's, B's, C's, and D's. Here in Canada, we don't have an oversaturation of malls like you guys do. But there is a. It's interesting that maybe this being the premier mall in the area, and they've just decided that that's the way it's going to be, and maybe a service center will open up elsewhere in the city or around it. But just kind of interesting that this kind of came out by a mall posting that they had a new tenant, and that tenant's name was Tesla.
If there's a Sears nearby and they were closed, Sears used to do your auto work right there in the mall, so they could just use those bays.
Yeah, those are far and few between though, because Sears Auto disappeared a long time ago here in Canada. So you'd have the Sears, but the Sears Auto disappeared a few decades ago.
Okay,
but
showing my age apparently.
Next, we got a story about SNX. They have been spotted that they're going to be gaining ambient lighting and front bumper camera. Now, this is not a big surprise. Once we heard that the Model 3 was getting ambient lighting on the inside, and once we heard that the Model Y in China was getting ambient lighting, no surprise that the SNX were going to get that, and probably they'll get it, maybe even a better version of it. Who knows? But and the front cameras, we've seen that cameras are coming. It was just confusing to us as to why they were hiding front cameras sometimes, showing them in renders and not appearing on the cars yet. Got to be something to do with parts just running out their supply of parts. Certain times you have an abundance of parts that you're rolling out, and as those parts start to run low, instead of ordering the same old part, you're going to be ordering the new part that's going to have a camera mount in it, or something along those lines.
And all the hardware boards have worked for a front camera. They just haven't had anything in it, and most of the Palladium S's and X's, if you start tearing apart your car, you'll find that there is a provision for ambient lighting. Just it's not like my X and the X's that were of a lower option tier at the year that mine was built, where there is a light and you plug it in and it turns on once and then turns off forever. It's not that. There's no light, there's no wire, there's just a spot for it to go, and there might even be a space on the board, but that's it.
Yeah.
So
not a huge surprise. Go ahead, Patrick.
The surprise is that their high-end vehicles didn't get these things first. Well, they definitely should be rolling these things out first.
The fact they already had the provisions makes it look like something didn't go quite as planned, because it came out on the Model 3 first, but the S and X had the slots and the plugs on the board for it, but it didn't have it.
Right. Yeah, it seems weird.
But what we've had Elon said that before, right? Is that obviously the higher end models will get the new toys first. He said that publicly.
Right.
So,
and then they never do.
Because they're lower volume, and so they're less important to Tesla's bottom line. So
exactly,
they don't get the love they should.
They did get the screens first, the rear screens.
Right. So the new Model 3 has a rear screen, this article says.
Yeah.
I did not know that. That really does close the gap. If the highlighted Model 3 has a rear screen and perforated seats, ventilated seats, it's got the quiet cabin glass. So yeah, they really do need to do something to keep the S and X appealing.
Well, they've got smart air suspension standard now for a couple years.
Right.
For a while back with the nose cone Model S's, you could have got them with coil springs. That was fun.
And it has a higher end gaming system.
Yeah, it has a higher end gaming system and more RAM.
And there's just been a story about new seats the Model S is getting that is above and beyond, more bolstered on the side and such, so that you can keep the driver in the seat as they're doing a 1.98 second 60-mile run. So
you know what's funny about that? Right before the
safety
show,
first.
Safety first, yes. But right before the show, I saw a dash cam video from the Rivian van where a carjacker took it. Went on a hoonigan run with the door open, and he didn't put a seatbelt on. And the Rivian van wasn't made for sporting performance. He hit a bump or something, turned wrong, and slid out of the door.
Oh man!
Then the van crashed into a tree. Yeah.
Oh. Lots of fun.
Yeah, staying in your seat when you're accelerating straight. When you're accelerating straight is not that hard. It's when you turn. Right. That's when you need the bolstered seats.
And seatbelt.
Yes, definitely. Always. Yeah.
Well, earlier Derek was talking about TeslaPoll, and of course we run those on Mondays, and we've got one to share with you now that we ran previously this past Monday. And the question, of course, was when you receive your CyberTruck, are you going to wrap it? And it looks like about 2/3 say no. Stainless steel rocks. That's the way I'm going. And only 1/3 indicated that they're going to wrap theirs. But I got to believe that the uniqueness of the stainless steel is probably going to keep that option open. And of course, there's nothing to say that 3 years down the road, when you're tired of stainless steel, that you'll wrap it then. But out of the gate, I'd probably keep stainless steel out of the gate just because it's so unique.
Yep. So I voted no on this one for a couple of reasons. viewers of the show may remember I said, "Oh yeah, I'm gonna do it myself in my garage." There's concern about whether the wraps will allow enough oxygen for the sacrificial oxidation layer to maintain itself. So I'm gonna let somebody else take the hit and see if they end up getting stainless steel rust, which is a thing if the sacrificial layer isn't there, as well as I also want to see how many of these are around me and how bad the glare is from the sun. And at that point, I will look wrapping it myself if I don't think it's going to do any damage, or if there's just a sea of just shiny silver everywhere.
Yeah.
You didn't have the option on there that I wanted, Mark. What I want is the bullet dent decal and the broken window decals. That's what I want. I want both of those. One Cybertruck. The people will be like, "Is that the one that was shot? That Elon shot?" That's what I'm looking for.
This one's going to be great for small business advertising. I assure you.
Exactly.
The Cybertruck font decal one, that was pretty cool, and that's not a full wrap. That's just a decal.
Yeah, I like those two. The ones down in Baja.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Those are pretty cool.
Or get that in bullet holes.
Oh, that'd be cool.
Or just shoot up your own truck with your own Tommy gun.
Oh, bad advice. Do not listen to Mark's advice. This show is for entertainment purposes only. The lawyer just told me to say.
Not medical or financial advice.
Exactly. Speaking of Baja, Mexico, Mexican authorities indicated that they have approved Tesla's request for the start of the Gigafactory. So Mexican authorities have indicated that everything's in order and that Tesla can start building the plant anytime that they see fit. Now, of course, the plant is not being moved forward, as we were told in the last earnings call quickly, because Elon is concerned about a bit of a recession. He's also concerned about putting the cart a little bit before the horse. He's watching the world economy as it moves forward and is going to play it cautious. And the more I think about it, Patrick's comment last time we talked about this really stuck in my head is that why are they slowing down the introduction of the cheapest car? Shouldn't that be the one that's going to propel Tesla into the future? Isn't that the one that's going to push the most people out of their gasoline cars into an electric future? That really
free from fossil fuels.
That's
right.
That's insightful, Patrick. I didn't think of that at the time, but that's what this factory was supposed to be designed for. Was the building of the next model of vehicle that was the $35,000 car. I'm sorry, $25,000 US car. So that's kind of sad that they're not pushing forward with it. They still may be pushing forward with the car because obviously Texas is going to make the car first. The engineers are in Texas. Right. They're going to work on the line in Texas. They're going to work on the new delivery platform in Texas, the production line. All that's going to happen. But if you don't have that plant that could maybe push out 5 million vehicles, then it's kind of a moot point that you can't get as many as you need into customers' hands.
So if they're not sandbagging, it would still make sense to complete the building and maybe even load it up with the equipment after they do their test runs in Texas, and then just hire the people when they are ready, since they're not getting loans for everything anyway. If they were getting loans and then having to pay these interest rates, then I would understand that part. But
they got money in the bank.
That's what they have money in the bank. They pay cash for everything, and these buildings don't degrade as fast as some cookie cutter housing development made of sticks and mud. It would be a strategic advantage for them to have the building ready to go when they snap their fingers.
And right. So when they are ready to turn it on full speed, they
exactly. Like Dark Five.
So if they
put in the ground when you need it, put some lasers on both ends. Well, laser and a camera.
Right. If they do all the work in Austin to get the line all figured out, it's going to be way faster to bring up at a second location after they've worked out a whole lot of bugs in Austin. So as long as they keep going forward with the building and then keep going forward with the line, then they can turn it on when they need to. And if they're ever going to get to 20 million vehicles, they've got a 10x from here, so they better get going.
Yeah, exactly.
But also, like I said, sandbagging. So he could have been lulling anybody who isn't on his team into a sense of complacency. So you got all the rest of these automakers saying, "Oh, nobody wants electric. Electric is hard. Oh, we're going to take 2 years to think about it. Oh, we're going to buy a battery factory, or oh, we're going to put our battery factory on pause, or our unions made us do it, or whatever their excuses are." And then all of a sudden, it becomes easier for their customers to get loans, and they just come blasting out of the gate. And everybody's like, "I didn't see that coming." Meanwhile, they were building the factory the whole time, and it was sitting empty.
Well, the other thing to keep in mind is that Tesla had, of course, pushed a number of its suppliers in China to set up shop in Mexico too.
Yes.
And there are a number of those plants that are under construction currently. So I can't believe that Tesla is going to leave their suppliers high and dry on this. They've, maybe this is a little bit of sandbagging that. Maybe they just don't want the questions at this point, and will continue to scheme in the background to get this started, to get this rolling.
If it blinks on, then you don't have to worry about Adam Jonas or whoever saying however many cars they're going to be making next month, and not counting Powerwall's worth anything. And Tesla Energy had a bang up quarter in a good way last quarter. So
yeah,
keep them off the back.
Next, we got a video that was shown on the internet recently about the Cybertruck, and of course, a couple of its very interesting options, which is the motorized frunk and the motorized tonneau cover. I'm sure, Casey, you spotted some of this. What did you think about the complaints about noise?
So it was a lot louder than the demo. It sounded like a metal garage door on a store, like the anti-theft gate, like ka-chunk, 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 ka-chunk. I mean, I'll still put up with it, but I did like that the one on the prototype was like, not the prototype, the concept was just really quiet. It sounded like it was like felt to just rub it on versus this. Yep. But if this means it's actually walkable and it's actually going to be like San Francisco proof, all right, let's do it.
Yeah, it's interesting. We've seen the trials and tribulations that Rivian has had with their powered tonneau cover. The one that was quickly taken off the menu once they started to break.
That was still operation. The original one.
So, obviously Tesla has that in their mind as to, this has got to be reliable. This has got to be something that when you get dust and dirt, because it is a truck, it's still got to operate. It can't be blocked by a twig or something that's going to break the system. So it's got to be rugged, and it's got to be operational all the time. So
yeah, you don't want it to be like running a manual lawnmower, like the push reel. Like, oh no, I hit the world's smallest stick. I got to back up and do it again.
Yeah. Other thing that they're going to have to watch, not just with the tonneau cover, but with the rear tailgate. I don't know if you guys have seen the rear tailgate of a Rivian when it's folded down, but it's got an issue that if you're hauling dirt, gravel,
it becomes like a dirt scoop into the shell.
Is that really? It goes right into the vehicle, like it goes into the bed and into crevices inside the bed underneath it. Yeah, so you're getting this problem where you're collecting gravel and dirt, and it's going into crevices in the substructure underneath the bed.
Yeah,
I talked to a Rivian owner about this live, and he was saying, yeah, I'm kind of cautious with that because if I'm towing aggregate or gravel or something like that, he said I put a tarp down to pour it into the tarp. And then I'm assured that it's not going to escape. But isn't that I look at Ford and GM trucks, their tailgate is designed so that aggregate and dirt can just flow out
on top of the bumper
and drop off the back of the truck, either through the gap between the tailgate and the body or the sides. There's no real place for the gravel to kind of get caught in the substructure of the bed. So
yeah. Can you imagine
I'm interested to see what the CyberTruck is going to look like.
Can you imagine that on a medium duty truck? It's like as you own the truck, it just holds less and less when you go to the scales.
Because you're always moving an extra amount of weight with you. Every time you do an aggregate run, it keeps 5% of it in the truck.
Range is getting worse and worse. What is going on?
Yeah, the range, and we had to leave some of the load at the customer site. Oh man,
that could be a problem. Absolutely, that could definitely be a problem going forward.
As far as the Frunk, I don't understand why it's as shallow as it is, but it looks, like I said, still looks bigger than the X. And I do like that it's got the F-150 style waist height, easy lift, easy load. And then it's got a little lip on the front. We weren't sure if it would have a lip on the front, so that way, if you parked on a downhill, would your oranges roll out when you open up the frunk? It looks like, as long as you don't have like bowling balls in there or something that can overcome the lip, that it'll keep that stuff in the frunk when you open it up.
Yeah. Very cool. So we'll have to wait and see. Again, we've got less than a month to wait before the reviews start to roll in and we see this live. So we are anxious to see it.
Oh, are we gonna recast it here?
I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Casey.
Are we gonna recast it here, assuming that none of us get invited?
Yeah, we'll do something along that line. We haven't decided quite yet, but we got a couple weeks to figure out what we're gonna do. Definitely. Next story: Elon has made his third appearance on the Joe Rogan podcast. So 2.5 hours of talking with Elon, and some of the highlights of the podcast was that Elon brought the Cybertruck to the podcast, and he and Joe got into a conversation about shooting the truck, and Joe said, "Well, how's the truck fare against a high-powered bow and arrow?" And Elon said, "Oh yeah, there's no problem there." And Joe says, "Well, I happen to have a high-powered bow and arrow. Want to try it out?" And Elon had said, "Yeah, I'll bet you $1 that you can't penetrate it with that bow and arrow." And Joe Rogan took him up on it. And there's a video that is provided with the links that we have below that shows Joe firing an arrow. And if you watch the video closely, you can actually see the arrow tips spark off the side of the truck, and of course it destroys the arrow. The arrow just basically scratches the exterior of the truck. That's about it, and destroys the arrow. There's nothing left of the head of the arrow, or the shaft of the arrow has been shattered because of the force. But and Joe asked some questions. Elon was a little bit cagey during this. He didn't want to, of course, reveal too much before the Cybertruck unveil in less than a month. This was actually recorded, I believe, on Halloween day, and was released that evening. So it's just basically 1 day old. If you want to check it out, some interesting parts. Talks a little bit about Mars. Talks about Cybertruck. Talks about all sorts of issues at Starbase, what's been going on, where they're planning on going. It's a good watch. It is 2.5 hours, so you may want to break it up into a couple of 40-minute stints or so. But if you have interest, it's a good watch.
The player forced me into doing that because it kept pausing and I had to keep refreshing it. But one thing that we did learn is that the gross weights of the truck are 6,000 and 7,000 pounds ish. Probably dual motor and tri-motor, most likely. And that we will get to see a video of the Tommy gun situation at the
extravaganza.
Yes. And I don't know if this came from that or not, but somebody said it did. I didn't hear this, but that the V12 autopilot, FSD, is called Rodeo.
Yeah.
I didn't hear the word rodeo. Like, it didn't catch my ear at all at any point. But it was 2.5 hours, so I could have just glazed over it while they were talking about other stuff that
Yeah.
we weren't interested in.
Yeah, there was a lot of talk about UFC and the fight with Zuckerberg, and it was a lot of that was silliness as far as I was concerned. But
yeah,
and that comes at the end, so don't let that stop you.
The CyberTruck stuff is like right up front.
Yeah, the first half you'll get some of the nuggets of information that relates to Tesla and SpaceX.
Yeah, the part I thought was interesting was he called the performance version of the Cybertruck Beast Mode.
Yes,
right.
So
cool. In addition to Plaid, are they going to have for the truck a whole different scale of up to
maybe Beast Mode is just Plaid, but like CyberTruck's got its own branding for everything. Beast Mode,
yeah.
Actually.
That's kind of interesting too, because there is a rumor out there floating about the Model 3 Highland having a mode that they're saying may be called ludicrous. Not Plaid, not Beast Mode, but ludicrous.
Yeah.
So maybe they're going to push the different models in different directions, and still indicate that Plaid is top of the heap. But you can get ludicrous in maybe a Y or a 3 going forward. Again, this is speculation.
I'd be fine with insane mode as the owner of a ludicrous vehicle.
Right. So insane was before ludicrous. They had insane, and then after ludicrous, they went to Plaid.
Right.
So yeah, they've already got 3 performance versions in different flavors. Now they'll have a 4th with beast mode.
That's right.
Which is what I have. But insane mode is gone long enough that nobody's missing it. I mean, there are some owners, but it's not the same as if you did ludicrous. Like you've still got Raven owners who bought their cars during the production shutdown. They got theirs right before Plaid came out, and they're being called Legacy, and they've had their car for like a year and a half. That's cool. Me, I've had my car for 5 years, so Legacy, it stings, but it's old. But to have your car for a year and a half and you get just like, you don't get any of these new features.
Yeah. Another thing they mentioned with beast mode is that Elon had said they're trying to get to a 3-second 60 mile run. So a little bit faster than a Plaid Model 3 and I'm sorry, a ludicrous Model 3 possibly. But right now the performance Model 3 is 3.1. So imagine having a truck running at sub 3. That's
no way. That just is not right.
That is beast mode.
Well, I mean, don't forget the Plaid is like, was it 2.6 for the Plaid Model X, 2.7, something like that, and then the Ludicrous Plus is just another tenth behind that. So they're already 6,000 pounds, and they just disappear in the blink of an eye. So
yeah, that's true. That's true. But man, a truck that weighs 7,000 pounds that fast. That's man, keep your eyes open because they may be released and we may never see them.
I'm going back to the future, Marty.
What was that stainless steel blur? I just
well, that about wraps it up for this week. I want to thank Belsom. Want to thank Derek for joining us in the live chat and chatting us, and Holly Gushi. I'm going to guess at the name, but thanks very much, everyone, for joining us in the comments. You can, of course, join us on our live shows every Wednesday at 7 p.m. Eastern, and we are happy to talk with you and answer questions as we go through the show. So please feel free to join us next week. Would love to see you out there. With that, Mr. Green, any shout outs for the end of the show from you?
Yeah. You can catch us over at, or me and Moto at least, over at youtube.com at Casey Green. And these guys also show up occasionally, either in the chat or on the show. And if you like this, it's just like this, but also the other parts of the industry. Obviously, in the States, that this part of the graph. But say in Europe or elsewhere, they're a little more even. And yeah, so check us out. We've got stuff every day, every Sunday at 1:10 Eastern, and my show and this show are about to play with the clocks. So we're going to be an hour later in relation to if your place doesn't mess with the clocks. We'll be an hour later than we are now. The next time you see us at both places.
How do we make that stop? Please make it stop.
Arizona did it, and there was like it was almost made it, and then like the politicians going to be politicking, and we lost it.
Yeah.
Very good, very good. And hello to Digital Pancake. Great name. Patrick, any shout-outs from you?
Yes, as always, I'm with the Oregon Electric Vehicle Association. You can find us at oeva.org, and I blog occasionally at carswithcords.net. The latest one up there is what was the range impact to the roof rack? So I installed a roof rack on the Model Y and did a 170-mile run before and after. So to compare those, and I've got all the data there that I got with TeslaFi when I used Casey's code to get a TeslaFi account. And yeah, so there it is. You can check it out if you want. And I'm about to do the same thing. Yeah, the result might surprise you. And now I'm about to do the same thing with snow tires. So I just got some Michelin Ice-X tires put on because winter is here. And I'm not going to wait until the snow falls and then get in. I have to wait 3 hours to get the tires on like some chump. So I did it now.
I did it back in the summer.
That's a little too early.
That's a little early.
The difference is I've year-round snow tires versus actual winter-only snow and ice tires. I've got the what do they call it again? The not the cross climate SUVs.
Okay. All right.
Okay. Yeah. So that's what's coming soon. You'll see. Be able to see all that up there. Check it out.
Fantastic.
Please. And then, of course, I have to say this is a blog about my journey towards a future free from fossil fuels.
Got it in. Excellent. Excellent.
Mark almost did it, and he just dropped on the floor.
That's yeah. We helped him a little. Yeah,
we did.
Well, with that, everyone, please follow us through the week on our Twitter feed at the Tesla Life, and of course on our Facebook feed, the Tesla Life #1, and check out what's going on in between shows. And until next Wednesday, when we get together, and we'll find out what's happening in the Tesla Life at that time again.
Derek's asking, are they all-season tires? And the answer is no. They're winter tires with the Tri-Mountain Snow Peak graphic, but they are rated for year-round use, so you don't have to take them off and have separates. So.
Just not in Canada. You get real snow tires when you live in Canada, my friend.
They are right. They're just not the ultra soft. I don't know how it works, but read the reviews. Stay
positive. Test negative.
Have a great week, everyone.
Thank you, Lee Moon.
Yes.